Artlist.io.
Life vanishes the day my wife stops drinking. I am sorry to bother Auntie, but I don't know what to do anymore. My wife and I have been married for almost 40 years. Our children are grown up and married.
She and I live alone in the house now. Auntie, we always had good days before. I'm talking about sex.
At that time, the sex was very nice and we both enjoyed it. We did all styles and licked each other and all that stuff.
She was still drinking at that time, but when she stopped drinking 15 years ago, the sex just disappeared.
From that time, we no longer sleep together.
Another bed was brought into our room and she told me to sleep on it.
Annie, that same night when I wanted to sleep with her, she refused, and when I wanted to crawl in with her, she went to lie on the other bed.
She simply doesn't want to have sex anymore. We have never cheated on each other before.
Auntie, I get that feeling to have more sex, but she doesn't want to.
I am 66 and she is 64 years old. What am I to do?
Should I divorce? Please advise me.
Many will probably now think that the day she gave up the drink, that's when the craving was also quenched.
But of course there can be other factors at play here as well.
A very big possibility that far too often remains untouched in marriages: menopause, the loss of sex drive, the changing body that no longer feels like the kinky things of the bedroom.
Now, extinguished lust is a different thing, because just because your partner may be going through a lust dip, it does not mean that your urges also automatically fall flat.
And this is where most problems start, because you still want to and she doesn't want to.
And she doesn't want to say why she doesn't want to anymore.
And your mind can't understand why she doesn't want to anymore, because in the past both of your bodies told a different story.
These things can upset the atmosphere in a marriage, hurt people emotionally, and leave men in particular with more questions than answers.
It is not at all unreasonable of you to still keep your intimate side of the marriage alive.
However, you must have noticed by now that the more you push for sex, the more she kicks the carts.
And the more like she's going to become like a prickly donkey instead of your prickly friend of old, the more friction it's going to cause in your marriage.
The friction is actually already there because you are already thinking about divorce.
It is therefore very important that you and your wife talk about this matter, and on a platform where you are not going to scream and shout at each other.
What matters here is what you are going to do to save this marriage. Can it be saved? Is her lack of sex drive something that can be addressed and treated? Has the bullet gone too far through the church, and is this loop forever gone? If it is gone, what consequences does it have for your marriage? Can your imagine, even if it has lasted 40 years, survive any longer if there is no sex involved?
See, the questions at this point overshadow any possible answers, but that's because only you and your wife can answer these difficult and uncomfortable questions.
It is your life together that is at stake here, so there is no way to shy away from the topic now.
You are also no longer what teenagers who are shy about the subject. You've known each other's bodies for decades. So how hard can it be to talk about something that affects you both?
It's not going to bring you anything to lie on your single bed at night and send one panga look after another in your wife's direction in the dark.
You need to start knowing where this ceasefire is moving in the bedroom.
There are those who will say you can go find yourself out there if the need is there and without divorce, but that comes with a lot of moral charges. It would go
against every dear vow you made years ago to go through life's trials through thick and thin with this woman. Now your trial is here. In fact, it has been with you for 15 years, but the bull has not yet been taken by the horns.
Find a solution to this matter, reach a consensus on whether or not something can be done about it, then make a decision whether you are going to have peace in your heart and underpants about this, or rather go and look for greener, willing pastures.